All right, my friends, today we are going to make a nice little winter project that should crochet up pretty quickly. And it's a free pattern that I got from the Crochet Crowd. And the yarn that was used on this particular pattern is Caron cakes. And it looks like they used 2 balls because you're going to be using 2 different strands of yarn. And we are using a 5.5 millimeter or an I9 crochet hook. Also, you want to measure your door or your window. And this particular one was 4 inches diameter by 38 inches long. And I think you want to go a little bit beyond the door, maybe just 2 or 3 inches as well. And the yarn that I'm going to use today, because this is my scrap yarn, is Caron Simply Soft. This is Ocean Color. This was a 7 ounce, I believe. And this is a 6 ounce of Caron Simply Soft, and this was Springbrook. And I've got my yarn pulled out at the end. I know it's hard to do sometimes, but I've got this one pulled out on here and this pulled out on here, and I'll be crocheting the 2 colors together. If you only have 1 ball of yarn that you want to use, go ahead and pull it out from this end, and around the side of the ball of yarn you can pull this piece out, and then you just put them both together, and then you start to crochet with these 2 strands. So you can do that either way. Again, it's an I9 crochet hook, which is a 5.50 millimeter, and I've got my scissors. I've got a stitch marker. I may use this one, or I may use a contrasting piece of yarn. I've got my blunt end wide-eye needle for weaving in the ends, and I've got some stuffing that might not fit into the camera view here, but I just get some like pillow stuffing to put in there. Okay, and let's get started. I had mentioned earlier that you want to measure 2 to 3 inches beyond the door, but that would only be on a door that is flush with the wall. This door is not flush with the wall, so I measured the exact inches for the width of the bottom of the door. And that way it fits in nice and snug. This is an inside door in my house, and it's nice and snug. Carry on. All right, I've got my 2 strands of yarn. Going to start off with our slip stitch. Going to wrap that around twice, cross over, and of course you can make a slip stitch any way you want. This is the one that I use the most. There's the slip stitch, and then you want to chain 2. So there's 1, and there's 2. Okay, so our first row, we are going to go into that second chain from the hook, and we're going to be doing 6 single crochets in that second chain. So here's the first one. I went in and grabbed my yarn, come back through. There's my first single crochet. I'm probably going to snatch up the tail as I go along. Here's the second one. And here's the third. I'm going to grab this tail and I'm just going to wrap that in with it. Okay, this is the third one. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And 4th. And 5th. Now my gap. I'm going to try to pull this and tighten it. Okay, close it up some. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. And then we're going to go ahead and put our stitch marker into that 6th single crochet. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to grab my, where did it go? There it is. I'm going to grab my stitch marker here, and I'm going to put that in our last stitch, which is this one right here. Make sure you grab both those yarns, pieces of yarn. Okay. Now we are not going to join this together. This is just a continuous round. Okay, row 2, we're going to do 2 single crochet in each single crochet around. So we're going to go into that first one. You can always count backwards. That's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're going to go into this one here. Trying to get under both those strands. Yep. Grab your yarns, and that's 1 single crochet, and then we're going to go back into that same spot again and do your second one. So you're going to do this all the way around. And yeah, it is a little bit tight right here trying to get under 2 strands, but it should get easier as we go along. Okay, so I'm going to go into this next one. Sometimes you can use the point of the crochet hook. Grab up my 2 pieces of yarn, come back through. There's 1. Now it's getting better. You can see where to go. And here's 2. And I'm going to go into that next one. And do 2 more. Okay, had to pull out some yarn there. All right, so now I'm on my very last stitch where my stitch marker is. This is number 6. I'm going to pull the stitch marker out, and I'm going to do 2 more single crochets right in here. Here's 1, and here's 2, and then we're going to put our stitch marker back in here. Okay, and we're doing this so that we can do each round the way that it's supposed to be done and keep track of where we're at, because it's kind of, since we're not slip stitching and connecting each round, it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so now we're going to do round 3, I believe we are on. We just did the second round. 2 single crochet in each single crochet around, so that we have 12, and you can count them. We should have 12 there. Now we're going to do the third row, which is 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next one, and then we just go all the way around. We should have 18 single crochets when we're done. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Here we go. All right, so we're going into this one. We're going to do 1 single crochet in this stitch, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 single crochets. So this is the first one and the second one. 1 in this one and 2 in this one. Here's the first one and the second one. So do that all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'm down to the last stitch, and I'm going to be doing 2 single crochets in this last one. So here's 1 and 2. And I'm going to put my stitch marker right back into that last one. And if I count, I should have 18. It's a good idea to count. Make sure you have 18 around. And now our 4th row, it's going to get a lot easier after this. Our 4th row is a single crochet in the next 2 single crochets. And then 2 single crochets in the next one, and you repeat around, and you should have 24. So let's do that one. Okay, we're going to start off with 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in that one, 1 single crochet in the next one, and then 2 single crochets in the next one. So here's 1 and 2 in that same spot. We're going to do that again. We're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So I want you to repeat that around. Here's 1, 1, and then 2. And my yarn's getting bunched up. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm going to meet you at the end, and we're going to count them and make sure we have the right amount. Okay, I'm down to the end here, and I'm going to take my stitch marker out and do my last 2 single crochets right in there. Then I'm going to count them, make sure I have 24. It's 1 and 2. And I'm just going to count the little V shapes. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So I've got 24. Now, the directions say you can stop using the stitch marker. And the 5th round is we're going to single crochet in each stitch around to have 24 single crochets. And repeat until it's approximately 38 inches. My door is 36, so I'm going to do 36 inches. Okay, and then we're going to want to stuff as we go along. I'm going to stop after I do my single crochets, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch this in, and I'll show you that. So let's do our single crochets around till we get 24. 1. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and put your stitch marker in that last one, and I'm just going to do that for the heck of it because I know that's my 24th one. Okay, so just do single crochet all the way around, and I'm going to meet you at the end. Okay, I'll meet you at the end, and we will weave in this end. Okay, I've come all the way around with my single crochets. I'm going to just take that stitch marker out. Really didn't need it, but here we go. So I'm just going to do the last one right here. Pull that out, and we are going to just weave this little thing in here. You probably don't have to do this if you stitched it in as you were doing the very first part, but I'm going to do that just for extra measure before I put any stuffing in. So I'm just going to take my wide-eyed needle, and so this is the wrong side, that's the right side. It just looks slightly different. And I think I'm going to have to do one piece at a time. I don't think both of them are going to fit through. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here. Bring it through. All right, now got a little hole right there. So I'm just going to go right through so you can see this. I'm just going to grab a spot wherever I can, and I'm just kind of going to go through it right here. I'm just going to kind of close that hole up a little bit. And I'll just bring it through here. Scissors and just cut them. Okay, and now we're just going to continue. There's your right side, and you know that because you're working from right to left. Just go back in here. So right here you just want to single crochet all the way around until it gets to the length of your door, but stop every few inches and add some stuffing. And you're just going to continue to do your single crochets. Just do that all the way around. And I will meet you once you get, let's say, a few more inches where you can start putting the stuffing in. And we'll just go over that a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I have crocheted this much, and I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in it. And I measured it, and it comes out to be like 3.5 rather than 4. So I guess if you use the Caron Cakes yarn, it might come out to 4 inches. So you can see the size of this, and which should be enough to keep a draft out. Now, this has a little bit of a stiffness to it, but we still need to stuff it, but we are not going to stuff it to the point where it's stiff, very stiff, like some stuffed animals that you might make. We want it in there loose. Okay, we're not going to pack it in, just put it in there loose, just so, you know, just so it's enough to where, you know, has a little bit of give to it. If you have a crack, you know, underneath the door opening there that's bringing in a lot of cold air, you want to be able to make sure that it can kind of get under there. All right, so that's all you have to do. So just keep on going until you get to the length that you want. And once we get down to there, we will go ahead and do our decrease stitches and finish up, and we'll be done. Okay, so I have the length that I wanted. I ended up doing 29. I'm doing this on an inside door, and it's a little bit draftier in that room. So I did it exactly the length of the bottom of the door, and then I'm going to decrease with 3 rows so it's going to fit in nice and snug. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I put a stitch marker in right there. I just used a contrasting piece of yarn. We are going to single crochet the first 2 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to repeat that with a single crochet in the next 2 stitches and single crochet 2 together. So let's get started here with a single crochet. There's 1, and there's 2. Whoops. Now typically, some of you may be familiar with doing single crochet 2 together by going underneath the stitch, grabbing up the yarn and coming through, and then going underneath the next stitch, grabbing the yarn and coming through, and having 3 loops on your hook, grabbing the yarn and going through all 3. But we're going to do this just like that. So we're going to do this a little bit differently so it doesn't create this lump, so to speak. This is going to be another way to do a single crochet two together. So we're going to go under the first part of that stitch. You get up close here, just that first part right there, right in the center. And we're going to go into the next one just under that first part. Then we grab up the yarn and pull it through. And then we pull up the yarn and we go through two. And I'm going to do that again. First you want to do a single crochet and another single crochet. And now we're going to do single crochet two together. We go under the first part, come right back down, go under the first part of the next stitch, grab the yarn, come through. You see I came through both of them, and grab the yarn and go through two. All right, so it doesn't leave you with a lump like the other way. So continue single crochet, single crochet, single crochet two together all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm down to my last two stitches, and then I should have 18 stitches, and I'll count those afterwards. So I've got my stitch marker, so I'm doing the single crochet two together. So I'm going to go underneath. It's not underneath the whole thing. Sorry about that. Here we go. And then I'm going to pull that stitch marker out and go into the next one. Right in the middle. Pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through. Okay, now we've got 18 stitches going around, and I'm just going to pull this out a little bit so I can get this stitch marker in. I just wanted you to see a different way in case you didn't have one of those other stitch markers that I have that you can use a contrasting piece of yarn. So I've got that in. Now for this next row, we are going to do a single crochet one time and then single crochet two together. And then I believe we will have 12 stitches when we're done with this. Okay, so this time you just want to do one single crochet, just a regular way. Gonna get some of that stuffing out of the way. One single crochet, and then do a single crochet two together. Go under that one, go under that one, pull the yarn through, and pull the yarn through two. Okay, one more time. Single crochet. Single crochet two together, go under that one, go under, oops, that one, get in the middle there. I don't think I got in the middle. There we go. Come back through and come back through. There's your two together. All right, I'll meet you at the end on this one. Alrighty, getting down to the wire here. We're going to do our single crochet two together at the end. Whoops, I'm sorry. Go into the middle, take the stitch marker out, go into the middle, pull it through and pull it through. Okay. You should have 12. Our last row is going to consist of single crochet two together all the way around. And then we're going to weave in the ends. We want to leave a long tail. Okay, move that out of the way. This little critter is a little bit hard to maneuver around, so there we have that one. Now we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet, 2 together, all the way around. And by the time that we get to the end, we should have a small hole left, and we'll weave it in so that the hole doesn't show up. All right, so just go ahead and continue all the way around. I'll meet you at the end again. We are finally at the end. Let's finish this up. I'm going to go ahead and take this out because we know we just have 2 more stitches to go under and under there, under there. Come on now. And through 2. Sorry for shaking the camera. And 2. Okay. Now, you want to take your scissors, which I don't have handy. Where did they go? Go ahead and a sizable, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 inches. Go ahead and cut that. And I am going to loop this around and pull it through, and then pull it all the way through. Now you want to get your wide-eyed needle, and we're going to weave in here so that we can finish this off. Okay, so I got my tapestry needle, or my wide-eyed needle. The end is not really sharp. And you just kind of improvise here. We've got a gap here. I'm just going to put my needle in. Let's put it in here. Just kind of go across. And that's just going to pull that tight. See there? And I'm just going to come around this way. I'm going to go in there. Tighten it up some more. I'm going to go through here, and I'm just going to go across. Tightens it up a little bit more. And I'm just going to go under here, come through. Then I'm just going to go down through the stitches into the work itself. Just kind of come down that way. This is going to be so I can really secure it. Come down. And you want to be close to the next stitch. Somewhat close. And then just come through again. And maybe do that one more time. Just come down through the work. And let's go this way. Okay, and now we're just going to cut it off. That's nice and snug. And there you have it. All right, we'll see how it looks.